going to be reading from Psalm 78. The first 7 verses, if you'd like to follow along with that, is Psalm 78, verses 1 through 7. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, showing to the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he hath done. For he established a testimony with Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should rise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments. As I was meditating on this psalm, Elle and I have been reading through the Psalms in the morning, and this psalm spoke to me quite loudly as we look at what God calls us to our responsibility as parents, to hear the voice of God, to listen to him, and to share that with our children, and so that they are raised up and they can pass it on to their children, and they can pass it on to the children after that. And this is just a wonderful thing to think of as what we are trying to share with our children about the mighty works of God our Father, and how that should be passed on from generation and generation, that we might know them, even the children which should be born, that they might set their hope in God. The whole purpose of that is passing on and not forget his mighty works, and to keep his commandments. And as we go through our lives and we're encountering fears and concerns, especially as we look at our days here with this coronavirus that is spreading across the world, that we are able to rest in a God who is sure, a God who protects us, a God who is consistent, a God who looks over us and wants to have a relationship with us, so that we would not have fear when these things come about. The goings-on of this day with this coronavirus is quite severe, and it can bring quite concern because we hear so much about it, and so much fear can come into us so easily. But as we sit and remember who God is and where we put our trust, and that he has done these wonderful things to show us that he is there and he has not gone away from us. So as we come into our communion time here, it is often thought of as a time of remembering what Jesus did for us, because he loved us, because he wanted to rescue us from our sin and turn us towards the God of salvation. So as we take our communion this morning, I want us to think about that as we come into times of fear and concerns, to think about what God has done for you and what God can continue to do for you as you go into your days ahead. So praise God for that. So I'm